Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Ms. Pearl. I'm your 6th grade science teacher, and since I'm out for a funeral for the next few days, I decided to video myself teaching you a little bit so that you wouldn't feel that I wasn't there for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into weathering. And weathering is just the breaking down of rocks and minerals on our Earth's surface. So bringing it back to that wonderful geosphere that we talked about. So we rock with the geosphere. All right, and now we're talking about the breaking it down. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, there will be new dance moves for our dance. All right, so what I wanted to do, since we are breaking down rocks, we will break down some beats too, but let's go into our physical weathering. Physical weathering is the breaking down of rocks. All right, where it goes into smaller pieces, but it doesn't change what it is. So these two will still be rocks after. All right, so I have our white kind of beigeish yellow rock and my brown rock. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub them together to see that little breakdown process. All right, so as I'm rubbing them together, believe me, sometimes it's a lot easier than others. I am still breaking it down, but what I want to show you is that it's smaller pieces, whether it's teeny tiny pieces, which I'm doing now, or I smashing the rocks and it makes them into just smaller pieces. So I've grinded this a little bit. Now, as you can see, on my white rock, I have a bit of the brown on it. Now, it just comes off on your finger, and the white rock is still the white rock. But it is now, I have smaller bits of the brown rock. And the brown rock, you can see over time that I've weathered it down. I've beaten it down. I've broken it down a little bit. Now, our chemical weathering is a bit different. That's where it changes the rock or mineral. And we see this mostly with rust. So any type of metal that's out in the sunlight and water, it will change to an orange color. Well, we did that in our classroom. We set it up in an experiment. I made a small little bottle of it. So here, we added paper clips. All right, we added some paper clips, as you can see, and we put them in water. That's all we did, 2 elements. And over time, it's just been a few weeks now, this has completely rusted. Some parts are still a little brown, but overall, quite a bit of rust. Now we have this one. This one we've done for a year. Has a hairband and hairpin. And over a year and a half's time, we've able to see now it's completely black. So we fully have changed what it is. Not the shape of it, but what it actually is. So chemical weathering is where we're changing what it is. Physical weathering is we're changing the size. So chemical weathering, changing what it is. Physical weathering, we're just changing the size or how it looks. So this rock did look way lighter, but now it's got some brown bits. This brown rock was much darker, as you can see here. But over time, we've lightened it little by little because I was weathering it down. So that is the difference. It's just breaking down the rock in different ways. Now, there are many different types of physical weathering. You can use frost wedging, which we don't really see ice and frost wedging here in Florida because, for one thing, it does not snow here. We have abrasion by wind, which I just did. Abrasion by wind, water, or gravity. So I was doing abrasion where I'm roughing it up, okay? Wind would mean our gale wind. So think what happens in a hurricane. Those types of wind, or just regular wind. It's beating down on those rocks. Or water, as we've seen with our rivers. So ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is we're going to explore the different types of weathering. Now I've added different PowerPoints so that you can see. And right now, I've added different rocks to a water mixture, and I put it in the freezer. And that way we can see what actually happens with frost wedging. Now, thermal expansion and contraction, which I put in the PowerPoint, is the heating and cooling of materials, causing them to crack and separate. Now here, we definitely have 100% of thermal expansion because it gets very hot. You will see this 100% when you see a pothole, something where you see those bumps or holes in the ground as you're driving. Now, their exfoliation is there's different layers. So let's think of unpacking an onion, okay? Now, we have different types of abrasion, and if you look in the PowerPoint, there'll be different ones. Now, our plant growth. That means trees are so powerful that they will crack rocks open with their roots because they're living. They're constantly changing and developing. So this is called plant wedging, okay? So these are just some simple ways of how our rocks have changed, our geosphere. Now, in this unit, we're going to go into all the different landforms, the ones that Florida has and versus the ones the world has. Now, being in Florida, we're a low, flat area. We definitely have lots of beaches, which they don't have in Nebraska. But we also don't have any mountains. So, across the United States, I traveled and I took pictures from all different locations. So you can see how rocks have changed across America. What I want you to do is now, I want you to do a discussion. I want you to take a look at the pictures I put. And I want you to explore the idea of how it happened. Take a look at the weathering notes that I put in so you can kind of think what had happened. All right? So take a look. I want you to just explore, try to understand what happened to each one of these pictures. I'm looking for it to be at least a full paragraph, okay? Because I want to see your writing skills along with understanding your science skills, which is observing the photo and analyzing what could have happened using these weathering skills. So in our discussion post, there will be 4 photos. And I want you to think about what had happened to each of the 4 photos and how they formed, okay? I'm looking for those excellent writing skills. I am looking for you guys to understand all the different information. Okay, so if you could, I'm looking for at least a paragraph or more. Now, in my class, when I say a paragraph for these discussion posts, I'm looking between 5 to 7 sentences. I'm looking at way more if you can provide it because I want to hear what you think could happen. I want to understand what you think of weathering. How do you think these rocks were changed over time? If it's by the beach, do you think it was changed by water? If it was by wind, do you think it was changed by the wind blowing? I want you to explore and think about each one of these pictures. You will have the whole class for you to do so. All right? But tell me, how has our Earth changed? I will add some videos for some more fun things, of course. And of course, I'm gonna break down those sick beats as I do as DJ Pearl. So don't worry, have some awesome songs. It's gonna be lit as it always is in my classroom. All right? But I do expect you guys to work on your discussion posts. This video is posted in your Teams channel, but it's also posted in your Canvas course. All right, have an absolute wonderful day. Make sure it's turned in, and if you do not finish in class, remember, it's homework. All right, and take a look around you as you go outside because we'll see the different weathering that has occurred. All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you work on your discussion post for today. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you the difference in ice wedging and also the difference in exfoliation with a wonderful onion. So we can take a look at that. All right, so those are the 2 different types of physical or mechanical weathering that we'll look at. And on our next day, we're going to look at the other jar we've had in our class for over a year now. All right, so we have lots of things and lots of experiments. we have started. All right? But now is your chance to use your imagination in your discussion posts and type it up for me. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.